Hello students, and welcome to George Washington Speaks. I'm Tom Saffold. I want to introduce George Washington, the first president of the United States, portrayed by Vern Frykholm. President Washington is often asked about how his family came to America and what he learned or gained from his family heritage. That's what he will share today.
My name is George Washington, and this is my story. I must admit that in the 67th year of my life, my memory is not what it used to be. However, I'll do the best I can to relay to you the particulars of my life from my memory and diaries and from the insights of others whom I trust. The Washingtons were not so very different from most of the people that started coming to the colonies. They simply wanted to improve their lot in life for themselves and for their families. They wanted to take advantage of the plentiful opportunities of a better life in the colonies than was available to them in England. My great-grandfather John came in the year 1657, 50 years after the settlement of Jamestown. His father, Lawrence Washington, my great-great-grandfather, was born at Sawgrave Manor, northwest of London in 1604. He became the rector of the church at Purley, Essex in 1633, and his son, my great-grandfather John, was born there a year later. Great-great-grandfather Lawrence did well and was well thought of, but 8 years later, the English Civil War broke out in 1642. Since the parliamentary Puritans won and came to power, my great-great-grandfather was stripped of his well-paying clerical position because of his royalist sympathies. He was then moved to Little Braxted, Essex, and served as the vicar of an impoverished rural parish where he died in poverty in 1652. Without sufficient income from his father, my great-grandfather John could not enroll in the Charterhouse School in London at age 8 to prepare for an academic career. Without a proper education, his family was forced to find other ways to better his social and economic standing. Fortunately, great-great-grandfather Lawrence had married Amphilus Twigden, who happened to be from a wealthy family. After Lawrence's death, and through the help of his mother's family, great-grandfather John was eventually apprenticed to a London merchant at age 20. In 1654, he proved to be a hard worker and gained a valuable education in colonial trade in the Caribbean and North America. After 2 years, he invested in a small merchant ship, the Seahorse of London. The plan was to fill the ship with needed supplies and other goods in London and bring them to Virginia. Once there, they would either sell the items directly to local colonial merchants, or they would trade them for cured tobacco in a hogshead. That is, a barrel fully packed with about 1,000 pounds of tobacco in it. After which, the ship would sail to European markets and would make a sizable profit. The following year, in 1657, John began his journey from the colony of Virginia back to England as the ship's second officer. The Seahorse was sailing down the Potomac River and was bound for England when they were struck by a tremendous storm coming up the river. In attempting to maneuver the ship in the turbulent water and tremendous winds, the heavily loaded ship hit an uncharted sandbar and it foundered. The damaged ship was taking on so much water that great-grandfather John and many of the crew swam for shore. Although the ship was repaired, the fresh and brackish water of the Potomac River had ruined the tobacco. Even though the cargo was replaced by fresh tobacco over the next several weeks, great-grandfather Washington elected to stay in the colonies.